Welcome everybody, this is Don Horatio bringing you the 12th and final installment of my little series TLO Party, and it's going to be sad for me to see the series go, but I look to get my hands on more TLO games in the future, so don't worry, I'll try to bring some more of his games to you as soon as I can. I got some Chef replays as well I'm looking to take a look at, so you will not be short on Liquid Zergs anytime soon. But let's just get right into the game. It's going to be a ZvT on Entombed Valley. Spawning the bottom right in the red, the Zerg player from Team Liquid, it is none other than Dario Wunsch, TLO. In the top left, we have our interestingly named Terran player, uRanUs. So, I don't actually know how I guess you pronounce the planet the same way, but, well, here he is. So, he's a pretty unknown guy. I think he's just a player on the ladder. So, I look forward to seeing what he can bring to the table. ZvT in this map, always a bit of a... not the best. A good map for mech, frankly, with the siege tanks. You can put them up here. And, I mean, it's just... I mean, every map's a good map for mech. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Mech is great. We all love mech, especially against Zerg. It's a lot of fun to watch. And I'm looking forward to it. We'll really see some siege tanks, because, I mean, you really have to take this third base and capitalize on the fact that you can keep tanks on this little ridge right here and defend just about everything. So we'll almost definitely see tanks. No pure bioplay coming on this map. Both players playing standard as standard can be at this moment in time. TLO droning happily up to that 15 drone mark. Going to be placing down a hatchery then, I can only assume. Whereas uRanUs continues to build SCVs, will likely drop his first barracks or maybe even a gas first sometime soon. Or it might even go command center first. We'll have to see. With no barracks or refinery quite yet, it actually might be command center first. And there goes an SCV, and he will be heading down. He's heading down here, so he will be going command center first, it looks like. So hatch versus command center first, but to the two most macro-based openings you can have in this matchup, so I'm excited to see what this produces. There's the command center, and there's the hatchery. And so it begins. Neither player has scouted the opponent yet, but both players will be somewhat happy to see that their opponent has gone for the macro option. So, certainly nothing to be terribly concerned about for either player right now. They can both pretty much do whatever they want. They will have their tech paths completely open to them. First barracks is coming down here, and we'll have to see if uRanUs decides to go for gas next, and there it does go. So north sort of 2 racks follow up to the command center first. So we'll likely see reactor Hellions here, and I mean that's just standard. I mean you see that in like 90% of TVZ games at this level of competition. Reactor Hellions are just way too good at controlling creep and maintaining map control. You just basically have to make them, or else you'll find yourself behind. Spawning pool about to finish for TLO, and we'll look to pump a couple of queens out as soon as that does finish. We'll start the one at the main first because he doesn't have a natural quite finished yet, but that first queen is on its way. The second will start very soon. Not dropping any Zerglings for a little bit of scouting quite yet either. Let's stick making drones as often as he can. And he's content to basically not have that much vision of his opponent, but this drone scout will soon be up and about seeing what is happening with his opponent. And he should turn around right now and head over. But this drone scout will be the first sight TLO has had of his opponent, and also this SCV scout will be the first scouting for uRanUs in this match. I'm going to feel ridiculous saying that name every time I mention it, but I can refer to them as the Terran player as well. But here comes the SCV, and then we'll see the hatchery, completely expected. Sees a couple of Zerglings pop out, and they will be immediately attacked by that Zergling pair. Gonna try and sneak in and see if he can do any more scouting, but he will not be able to see the gas up here in the main, so things are still a mystery to him. But TLO's probably just looks to be macro style, making a couple more queens even. Probably going to see a third hatchery drop sooner rather than later, as he probably saw this expansion for sure. Look at TLO's vision. Actually, TLO still has not drone scouted his opponent. Where did his drone come down? I mean, he still has no idea what his opponent is doing. But he's lucky it's kind of an expansion play and not something more nefarious from the Terran player, like a 1-1-1 or any sort of all-in play, because he could be in a lot of trouble if he didn't scout that. But the reactor is finishing up. The factory about to float over on top of that, so you will see those reactor Hellions coming out very soon. And they will begin to pump out right now. TLO dropping down that third hatchery, like I said. Queens and Zerglings running the batter at these rocks. Creep starting to spread, getting some tumors going. Having 2 queens dedicated solely to that creep spreading. Always a good thing to have. We do see a starport on the way for our Terran opponent of TLO and Attack Lab as well, so we will see some Banshee action, some Hellion Banshee aggression perhaps coming in, trying to do some economic damage. And it could very well succeed. We'll have to see if TLO makes some more Queens, or if he'll get a Evolution Chamber that will allow him to make the Spore Crawlers necessary to really defend against the Cloaked Banshees. He does have, that hatch is just now finished at the third base, or just about to get there. And let's see what else he's got going on. Not a whole lot tech-wise for TLO. And I don't think we'll see Cloaked Banshees. There's actually a lot of gas stacked up. That might be his plan. He certainly has the gas for it. And if he gets the minerals, will he drop it immediately? He has so much gas stacked up, I have to feel that's what he wanted to do with that gas. And he does have the tech lab selected, and there does go the Cloak upgrade, so it will be Cloaked Banshees. And let's see if TLO will be able to prepare for that. He does have an Evo Chamber, 2 of them actually going down, as well as a lair, so he will have the detection necessary, but he needs to make sure he has enough Queens or Spore Crawlers in place to actually do the damage needed to force those Banshees away. A couple of Hellions can try and get in and roast some Zerglings, and they will be pretty successful. No Spine Crawlers up, and Queens are not at the front of the base. And that's actually the strength of the Hellion Banshee aggression. You can kind of do multi-pronged efforts and draw the Queens away with the Hellions before moving in with the Banshees to try and do some damage with a big lack of anti-air around. But the Hellions do fall back for now. Only 4 of them can't do a whole lot, but he is making more and more Hellions and dropping some more gas here, which might lead to perhaps a mech transition. That'd be sick to see a mech transition, actually. Like I said, mech is very good on this map, specifically. And we do see 2 more factories going down, so it will indeed be mech. I'd like to see a couple armories, too, to get those upgrades going. And I'm excited to see mech play against TLO. It should be very exciting to watch. TLO going to move in with these Zerglings he has and going to try and sneak in, but the Hellions are in place and can get some good roast off on those Lings. And they are forced to run away, and a good little deflection there by uRanUs. The creep's starting to spread pretty effectively. The Hellions should get down there and start dealing with that sometime soon, or else that number might get, the amount of creep might get a little bit too much to handle. We do see a Baneling Nest and a Roach Warren going down. Seeing enough Hellions, TLO has decided that he needs more defense and other than just Zerglings to really try and hold them off. Will not be able to rely on the Zergling force to deal with a bunch of Hellions for sure, especially if Blue Flame gets involved. And we do see that double armory play coming down for those double mech upgrades. So Nero's playing it very well, and the Cloak Banshees coming into play now. Big Scan taking out a ton of creep tumors, and here come the Hellions actually just going to go straight for this Queen and do a significant amount of damage. And there's not a whole lot to do with these Hellions right now. The Roach Warren still is not done, and it's just a bunch of Zerglings. And these Hellions are in a great spot and going to get a bunch of units. But the focus on the Queen, not the best thing to do. But oh, look at all these Zerglings just absolutely melting. A bunch of drones going down as well. You already have 5 drones killed, and that number will certainly increase. Just spamming them into spines and spores to try and save them. Lucky he had enough minerals to basically do that, but finally the Hellions are forced away and the mass cancel, getting all those drones back. Good clutch decision by TLO to save all of those, a bunch of those drones. Total workers killed is only 6, and considering the positioning of those Hellions, TLO considered himself quite lucky for that to be as low as it is. We do see, oh, it's going to be Hellion Thor from our Terran player. We see double Thor production, and that's absolutely awesome to watch. Maybe some Hellions as well, just to try and buffer some Zerglings and do some extra damage to them and keep those Thors alive. But here comes those upgrades as well, the +1/+1 on the way. And Mech plus Banshees is just a strong composition, and I'm very happy to see someone try to go Mech against TLO. The Scouting Barracks now floating over here over this 4th base to see when it is taken. A good place for that. He doesn't need Marines or anything, so good to use that for scouting and some sort of utility. TLO running around the map and avoiding that Selnaga tower. We're going to try and do something with these Zerglings being active on the map. A bunch of Overlords floating over, actually, and there's a drop on the way and Baneling speed. We might see a Baneling Roach drop into the main, perhaps. And, I mean, all these Overlords are... uRanUs sees these Overlords with these Selnaga tower vision, so he has to expect some sort of big drop play here. And I'd like to see the Thors go in some position to try and defend against that. And the Thors actually in this middle here are in a pretty good spot, actually. But the Hellions are going to move in, and there's only a couple of Roaches here. Might get off a couple of good shots in the mineral line. That was a pretty good roast. Only got a couple of drones, though. There's a good line right there, but there's only 2 Hellions. Might not be able to get that many more. Actually got some good shots in with that last Hellion. And TLO bailed off a bit early there, and one more really good shot. Oh, that was actually a great shot right there, getting a couple more drones. Workers killed us up to 13. That was a good run by those Hellions. But here's that big Overlord creep force, and he does force that expansion away, and it will get repaired, but the 3rd base not able to go down for uRanUs. And a good maneuver by TLO to keep that 3rd base away and drop a ton of creep on it with these Overlords. So many Overlords over here. He needs to be really careful of that in case a Thor wanders over and just does a bunch of splash damage to those Overlords. It takes out a bunch of them. But TLO once again moving up with a bunch of Zerglings, and there's a creep there too. Terran not going to be able to expand anywhere he wants to right now. The Zerglings will see this, and oh, there's the drop coming in, but I mean, like, and Thors are just in position, and there's no way this drop is going to succeed at all, and immediately drops those Zerglings out. He knows he can't do anything right now. And he's going to be just content with creeping up that base just a ton. And right now, TLO is on 4 bases, or at least getting that 4th base established. Dropping some gas there, and Terran's on 2 right now, and with a big oversaturation in SCVs. So it's a good spot for TLO to be in. Those double upgrades have been halted for a bit for the mech. But here comes the Roach is going to move in and try and maybe do something, but not a whole lot they can do there. And they're moving in. Oh, that's just a misclick right there. And TLO loses a bunch of Roaches for absolutely free. Nasty, nasty misclick there, losing a ton of army, and finds himself still ahead in army supply, but that was just obviously, I mean, he didn't kill anything with that. It was just a bad lack of trade overall. The +2/+2 upgrades, well, at least the +2 attack now started for the Terran player. His mech units will be much stronger. The +3 siege tanks are some of the most powerful units in the game if he makes a bunch of those. And now that he has those Thors out initially, he's actually shifting over to that 2 siege tanks and not Thors. Splash damage is so important against those ground units, but TLO does have his Hive on the way. Getting that +2 melee attack, +2 Carapace already done as well. Getting Aspire 2, we'll have those Broodlords out at some point in time. Pathogen Glands, TLO pursuing everything. Roach Speed, Burrow, Flyer Carapace level 1. So he'll have double Spire play as well. And he just says he's going to have so many units out on the map. So many upgrades out on the map, and it can be able to tech switch very effectively with so many high-level units. But once again, we're seeing all these Overlords and a couple of Banelings morphing in. We might see another attempt at a Baneling drop. And the Banelings will indeed go in these Overlords. And are there actually any defenses here? Actually, yeah, there's a ton of missile turrets, so TLO might not get a whole lot done here either, but let's take a look and see what he can do with these Overlords. And here they do come, a bunch of Banelings. And, oh, but here come the Banshees, and they will spot them ahead of time, so the Thors will be able to move over to a defensive position. But might drop at the siege tanks, actually, and then, oh, nope, the Thors are going to be slow as crap getting over, and TLO's found a spot here, and he's going to do some sick damage to this mineral line, and here come the drops. Banelings needs to target those Banelings a little bit better. Oh, if you were dropping those Banelings in just a different position, TLO, you'd be in so much better shape. Oh, he had a great opportunity there to kill a ton of SCVs. Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh my god, it's so close. Almost got all of those SCVs, and he does get 10 workers, but that could have been so much more for TLO, and he has to know it. And, I mean, it's disappointing to see such a good opportunity like that be wasted. These Overlords should just run right now. And they're just getting bombarded by this missile turret. These Overlords feel ashamed for having failed in their mission, just absolutely punishing themselves, a little bit of masochism. But the creep is now starting to spread out across the map as well. He's been able to keep Terran inside of his base with this harass play. He certainly at least achieved that, if not able to do the worker damage he's been wanting to get. But uRanUs is dropping down in another command center, and TLO is still on 4 bases, but that high-tech army is going to start to get there very soon. Getting a bunch of upgrades, a bunch of, we're going to see that +3 melee, +3 Carapace upgrade, plus a missile attack is almost done as well, +1 for the Flyers, Neural Parasite, Infestor's on the way as well, Greater Spire halfway done. We do see Raven's actually going to be in the game plan for our Terran player. We do see Hunter Seeker Missile being researched, as well as Blue Flame going all out for this mech play, and it's going to be fun to watch this late game army engagements. I mean, frankly, you don't see mech as often against Zerg as, well, not nearly as often as Biomech, obviously, with the Marines and tanks. But, I mean, so less experience in these engagements for TLO, so I'm curious to see how he handles it. And yeah, it should be some sick late game engagements. Sensor tower now down for uRanUs somewhere. There it is. Just trying to see where units are out on the map if they're like posturing here for an attack. So always good to have sensor towers and map vision as a Terran player. Making that planetary fortress at that 4th base and dropping a bunch of mules, so that income will spike up immediately with those mules. Gas mining as well, and TLO will probably look to do some damage before this 4th base really gets going. But right now he's being allowed to build the Broodlords like he wants to, but the Raven upgrades continue to pump out. We see the Corvid reactor, the energy upgrade for the Raven, 4 Vikings at a time, and a Raven in production. And TLO's army, let's see what it is at right now. We have 10 Infestors, 4 Corruptors, 88 drones, so the drones are already good count. Both players have about the worker counts they want to be at. 6 Queens eating up a bit more supply than TLO would probably like, but just a lot of Infestors, and the Broodlords now start to morph. We do see 4 being made. And TLO's going to start building that army that he really wants. But uRanUs is also reaching his max very soon. He's making 2 more factories as well, making some more Thors. 3 command centers being made at once. He'll be looking to burn some SCVs pretty soon and making it just a bunch of orbitals. And that will allow him to have a higher supply army. TLO trying to take down these rocks for access to this next base of his. We're going to try and take that base as opposed to more common bases over here. But Blue Flame Hellions moving in to try and do some damage. And definitely roast these Zerglings and moving in. A good fungal right there. Great fungal action. Enrage the Broodlords and absolutely waste those Hellions. Good move there by TLO. These Hellions might look to try and do some damage though. And they'll get fungaled as well though. The Queen coming over to try and do what they can. And just great defense by TLO. Wasting a bunch of Hellions. That was a big commitment of 10 Hellions. They're pretty expendable units, but you really don't want to lose them for free. Absolutely. Not a good trade for uRanUs. Not a good trade for uRanUs. That just... I'm going to take a drink of water after that one. Korean ladder troll. Anyway, uRanUs' 4th base now very well secured. Thor's in place as well as some Banshees. And this composition for uRanUs is really quite wonky. He's got pretty much every unit except any sort of bio ground unit. There's 2 Marines on the map somewhere, but other than that, it's Vikings, Ravens, Siege Tanks, Hellion, Thor, Banshees, everything out of the map that he could possibly have. And, I mean, well, TLO's creep spread, actually, by the way, is really sick right now. Once again, right about at the foot, I mean, this sensor towers can see some of these creep tumors. That's how far out of the map he is. And scans those Zerglings to see what they are, make sure he's not under immediate attack. That sensor tower doing a great job. He can see anything in this region right here along that border, so a great sensor tower positioning for uRanUs. Bird Roach here denying this extra expansion for by TLO, so well done by him to place out Roach there. Kind of a useless unit to have at this point in the game, so might as well use it for something useful, like blocking an expansion. So good maneuver there. More Broodlords morphing in. He has 6 done and 2 on the way, so slowly building up that Broodlord count. His Infestor count is currently at 10, and we'll have another one in a second. Getting that +2 flyer attack for the Broodlords as well, and the Corruptors. And he's starting to expand even more, taking a base here as well, surrounding it in Spines and Spores. Just trying to play extra defensive to keep that base alive at all costs. And uRanUs has so many, he's building just a planetary fortress wall, actually. I was wrong earlier when I said he was making orbitals. He's just making a huge defensive position, and with the immobility to mech, you kind of need this defensive wall, frankly, because siege tanks that they have to be sieged and immobile, like literally can't move to be at their most effective defensively. And when you're spread out on a bunch of bases like uRanUs is and soon will be even more, you really need something at home to defend. This is like a big spine crawler wall when you have Broodlords as Zerg. You really need something at home to defend against any sort of counter-attack. So uRanUs is just playing very cautiously right now and trying to get a big, huge late-game army that's just with scary upgrades and everything, making 4 command centers at a time. This is just absolute insanity from this. And TLO he can't assault this with, I mean, if he tries to transition to Ultras at some point, which he actually has an Ultraless Cavern as he's making the Chitinous Plating, he's got people to do almost anything against it. These just planetaries will shred some Ultras, especially if there's any repair or anything, and even some missile turrets to help deal with the Broodlords and Corruptors. So uRanUs is covering all of his bases as he expands. You see some Nidus Worm play coming in, a Nidus Worm here, and also a couple over here, just making reinforcement points everywhere. TLO trying to basically extort, what's the word I'm looking for? Exploit the immobility of the mech to the best of his abilities by just placing Nidus wherever he can so he can attack from any angle at any time. And look at this creep too. I mean, TLO will have full reign of the map and will know exactly when uRanUs tries to push out, and he will probably just immediately counterattack because this army will be very hard to engage directly. And TLO's army is actually getting pretty beastly in of itself. God, that's so many Overlords. Just, oh my god, creep rain is disgusting. Ugh. But 10 Broodlords out right now, and we do not have any more making right now, but TLO is maxed, so that would explain that. But upgrades do continue to come out. +3 missile attack, +3 flyer carapace. More command centers coming down for uRanUs, continuing to make things. Bunch of creep tumors here, just trying to spread creep where he can. This will be very annoying if uRanUs tries to take this base. An Overlord with a couple of Infestors trying to float out was not able to harass very successfully over here. The Cloak Banshees doing great work. And a missile turret dropping over as well to try and deal with something. Actually, it looks like maybe a good fungal or two got caught off over here. Looks like the workers killed, actually. Up to 19, so he might have gotten a couple workers there. Zerg is being dealt with by these Cloaked Banshees, which cloaked completely unnecessarily, but I mean, I don't know, it's whatever, really. The nice where I'm in this creep is, this is a great spot for this creep, just delaying these expansions, and just TLO doing all the little things right now. And uRanUs will have a very hard time expanding beyond this base if he wants to with this creep up here. Which would be a huge pain to deal with. The Ravens will make it easier with their detection, but even so, it's just so hard to deal with. And TLO is up to an over max supply with the spine crawlers he planted, and canceling some of those to get an even bigger army out in the map. But both players just sitting at max right now and just not doing much of anything. Both had actually fairly low econ maxes. 76 drones is low. 10 more drones than that would be completely standard. And about 10 SCV short for uRanUs as well. 75 is a much more standard number. So both players going with a lower econ version of this sort of late game play. Infested Terrans still trying to be annoying. It's a good little spot. TLO's used this a number of times actually, just lobbing Infested Terrans over onto this ledge on this map specifically. And just denying that gas mining, which is very important. Fungal right here on these Banshees would be a good maneuver, and there we just go. He does snag them. Another couple of Fungals would be pretty good, but this Banshee over here is so separate and not being fungal. And he's trying to pick off some Infestors, and they're just going to run back into the Knights and try to run away, and they will get away. Maybe only one Infestor lost there or so. Actually, I don't think he lost one because he's still at that 209 over max. So good job by TLO not to lose a single Infestor and just doing some minor harass. We see a bunch of barracks now up here for uRanUs. I wonder what those barracks are specifically for. It does not look like he has much else as far as barracks out in the map, so that's kind of an interesting choice. But I mean, maybe just trying to get some Marines, maybe. But oh, this is awesome. We do see a fusion core here. So it will be for Ghost potentially. uRanUs going for a little weird little tech group of buildings over here. 3 Ghost Academies, and we're gonna see mass nuke from uRanUs. This could get sick, and also battlecruiser upgrades, and Ghost will soon be on the way from this base, and some SCVs being sacrificed to the cause, and they'll just neural parasites an SCV, and is he gonna make a command center with that? Please tell me you're making a command center with that SCV. Please. Oh, this will be sick if he does do this. Please make a command center. Neural it again. Neural it again. Neural it immediately. No! Oh, come on. Oh, that would have been absolutely awesome if he had nailed that. Kind of surprised we don't see some sort of mention in the chat of that little interaction, but still nothing. But 3 nukes will be done very soon. Is personal cloaking for the Ghosts done? Where's the Ghost Academy? The personal cloaking is not quite up. Actually, that's the energy upgrade. Where's the cloaking? Okay, cloaking's coming after the nukes. So he's making the nukes first. He now has 3 nukes ready. Does he have any Ghosts on the field as of yet? He does not, but 2 are about to finish, and he will have 3 nukes to work with, so I'm curious to see what he wants to do with that, whether he tries to nuke the army or goes for economy. It should be an interesting play, and TLO continuing to be very, very annoying from this ledge of the Infestors, and just denying that gas, and he needs that gas. The gas in the main is mined out now, and uRanUs really needs that gas. The gas remaining here is also quite low at the natural. And TLO's just taking a bunch of bases on the map. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hatcheries either on the way or done already. And he'll look to increase that number as well. A bunch of creep tumors here ruining his day if he tries to expand over there. But TLO's to 222 supply. He continues to cheat at this game. But TLO just has a complete map control, and uRanUs is just held back in his base entirely. More Corruptors even on the way. God, this army for TLO is going to be absurd. 18 Corruptors, 10 Broodlords. But these nukes, it's all going to come out of these nukes. I'm curious to see what exactly uRanUs can do with these nukes. It's all about the nukes. I love the nukes. Nukes are great. Gonna see some good stuff. Battlecruisers as well. How many battlecruisers are there out? Actually, we do see 2 right now. That's all he can make because he's once again max. But worker counts now lower, even lower for the Terran player, down to 50. He sacrificed a bunch of those when he made some orbitals. And getting all the upgrades. We're just going to see all these 2 players get whatever they want. Max completely out, as they have already, get huge upgrades, and then just we're going to see some big fights in the middle here very soon. Because, I mean, they can only do so much now. I mean, uRanUs can't expand anywhere at all. He has to push out to expand. Sacrificing even more SCVs. I just don't even... This is absurd, like, what's happening right here. That, like, there's been... Other than those Hellion run-by attempts and some Zergling aggression, there's been nothing in this game. I mean, the total workers killed at 32 minutes in the game at that. TLO's killed actually a bunch of workers with that. Okay, you got to roll in the SCV again. This is all that matters right now. This is all that matters, guys. He's fine, but he's creeped up the entire map. He can't build a command center anywhere, so that he should just give up on that. Which that just is very. That's just unfortunate for everybody. But that SCV will stay alive, and he's just kind of being left there. But the nukes are starting to go down. Where are the nukes going down? Where are the nukes? 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 I can't tell. Oh man, this is really annoying. It's probably over here considering the infested Terrans that dropped, but I don't see any. Oh, there's the ghost. There's a ghost. Is there another one somewhere, or did he kill any workers? So that nuke must not have done anything if it actually did go down. So sad news for uRanUs, but TLO continues to build up a giant army. Still, oh god, that's so much creep being dropped down. But both players just, frankly, they need. I'd like to see something happen pretty soon because I'm just gonna get a little bored otherwise. Broodlord's trying to siege from this position over here, but the Vikings over defensively, and the siege tank to deflect the infestors. So good positioning by uRanUs now, finally learning his lesson on this side of the map. But he's gonna start mining out very soon. Look at the minerals here, almost got at the third base. Only a few patches left, down to 5 it looks like. And here, I mean, if you start dropping a bunch of mules here, he'll mine out here as well. He needs to push out and start doing something. TLO has the entirety of the map at his disposal. Has cleared out this base to take sometime soon. Will likely do the same over here, and he just has complete map control with his creep, Nidus Worms, and he's just in a great spot. Broodlords continue to siege, transfuses from the queens as well. TLO just harassing to the best of his ability. And another fungal might try to fungal these Vikings, and he does get a great fungal, but he's just really does not want to extend that far, and we'll lose a couple of Broodlords for sure. And it's just a constant micro battle over here, and the siege tank's getting some great blasts in these infestors, and that's not what you want as TLO, and he can't remake these units because he's at max. So, I don't know, but I think TLO might want to try and back off from this engagement right now. He actually did get that tank, it looks like, so he could try to bombard with some more infested Terrans. This is just a little interesting engagement over here that's been going on for quite some time. But, I kind of want something to happen pretty soon. I mean, I like long macro games as much as the next guy, but some action would be nice to see. But let's take a look at what the army's looking like right now for both these players. So for Terran, we've got 42 SCVs, so his army supply is absolutely absurd. 157. 8 Thors, 20 Vikings, 7 siege tanks, 3 nukes between 2 ghosts, 4 battle cruisers, a couple of marines, and 5 ravens. And Zerg actually has a couple of hydras for some reason. He has 2 hydras, only 47 drones. With the banks they have, look at these banks! 10k, 8k, 10k, 4k, absolutely absurd. More nuke attempts going down. Where are these nukes going down? Not the third, not the fourth, not here. Where are the nukes? Oh, big nuke going down there, taking out a bunch of workers of TLO, down to 33 drones. Great nuke. Great nuke from uRanUs, and that is a big step for him. That just gives TLO more supply to make units with. Another nuke will go down here, and these Broodlords are moving towards a bad location, and that's kind of a weird spot to nuke, but TLO does notice it and backs off immediately, so good catch there. That'd have been pretty much, I've really said he lost all those Broodlords right there, but now that we have not a max supply, let's look at the production. TLO will use that supply gap to make some more Broodlords. More nukes on the way for uRanUs, and just continuing to harass constantly with these nukes. It's just a good resource to use. No reason not to. He's a ton of money. It can make ghosts are pretty much free at this point for him, just to get a couple to try and nuke. So good on him. Does nail that ghost right there. So good job by TLO as well. But let's actually take tabs on TLO's army. 2 hydras, 75 overlords on the map, which is absolutely ridiculous. 15 Broodlords, 7 Roaches, a single Baneling, 20 Corruptors, 10 Infestors, 6 Queens. So neither army really makes a whole lot of sense, and this is still going on over here. Mining has been completely denied for uRanUs at this base. His economy is down to a pretty low number, but both guys have lost a ton of workers, a ton of mining, and this is actually just getting absurd. There's one Broodlord doing a great job of sieging up this base by itself. Infested Terrans coming over as well to try and draw some fire. And this Broodlord's doing what it can, and it's kind of isolated. It might just follow these Vikings, but the Infested Terrans are their buffer as well, but the Planetary will take them down. Corruptor's also in place, though, to fight the Vikings, and this game is just bonkers, and these Bane armies have never engaged each other, and uRanUs is showing his dislike for TLO's not attacking, and they're discussing each other's banks, and I mean, you know, a game is getting pretty boring when one player says ZZZZZ. I don't know if he means the Korean ZZZZZZ, which is actually haha over and over again, or if it was the Western ZZZZ of this is really, really boring and I'm falling asleep. Not sure which one it is. But Infested Terran bombs continue to fly, Siege Tank Splash taking out both players, asking each other about each other's banks. Absolutely absurd. And here comes the army for uRanUs trying to strike while TLO is trying to ask the enemy's gas count. But TLO does see that army now and will back off a bit with his infestors. Here come the Vikings to try and snipe up this Broodlord, and it's just a weird spot to have a main army engagement. We won't likely see the big fight here, but I want to see something happen pretty soon. uRanUs is going to be, well, not mined out anytime soon, but his fourth is mined out, third is mined out, natural mined out, main mined out, and this is all he has, and he can't mine from it. So TLO should just start trading units. He should start trading right now. He should know at this point that the other bases are all mined out. He has complete map control. He has a number of bases, but he does not have the drone count. That may be the only caveat here. Down to 24 drones, he hasn't made any more. And it's just like, he needs economy too. That's the problem. The economy is actually pretty... uRanUs has the lead on like a very small amount of base on mules alone, I think, actually. And but here comes the army of TLO, and he will look to do some damage here. If he can take out this fourth base, he will entirely deny the mining of his opponent. Big nuke coming down. Let's see where the nuke is going, and it's going to land on this base once again. No drones to kill, has that going for him, but it might take out these spine crawlers. I think it's the only nuke on the map currently. But here's going to come down. Does take out the spine crawlers and a drone. One drone hiding safely in the extractor, because that makes a lot of sense. Here comes the big Broodlord army, and he will take out this planetary in only a couple of hits. And the Broodlings do finish off the job, and there does go that... Oh, great fungal on the Ravens. Absolutely great. Neural Parasite. Hunter Seeker Missile. Hunter Seeker Missile. Hunter Seeker Missile. Yes, he does do it. Great Hunter Seeker Missile on the Neural Ravens. Do it again. Do it again. Hunter Seeker Missile. Oh, do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, great fungus going down. Neural Parasites everywhere. Trying to hold those Ravens back from doing any damage at all. The Mono Cannon is about to come off. Hydra's coming into play. They're going to try and snipe down some of these Vikings. Fungals continue to go down. Let's see another fungal. One more fungal. There it does go. And the Corruptors doing good work, but most of the Battlecruisers are still alive, and there's not enough Corruptors. The Infestors forced to burrow and run away, and the Hydras do not quite have the range to deal with these Battlecruisers and Vikings, and uRanUs will gain the army advantage. And with his low income, I think that might be all he needs. The bank for TLO is much more spent up than his opponent right now. uRanUs has twice as many minerals as TLO. Battlecruisers moving in, doing what they can, taking some fire that he doesn't really need to from these spores, really. Could just move in with the Thors. But here do come the Thors, realizes that, and moves in, starting to deal some big damage with the Thors, and this base is now forfeit. And we're going to start to see the map control that TLO's had this entire game start to kind of go away. And TLO is starting to remax more in Broodlords and Corruptors once again, and 25 Infestors at once. He is making 25 Infestors at once. Absolutely ridiculous. 34 Infestors right now on the field for TLO, and he's going to be relying heavily on that composition. And I don't know if you've seen any of the games of the NS Hoso player, or maybe former, I'm not actually sure if he's on the team anymore. They've had a lot of roster shakeups recently, but his mass Infestor style is probably the most entertaining thing about NS Hoso and GSTL. So much fun to watch, and we'll have to see if TLO can pull it off. We're going to see a bunch of mass Raven from uRanUs in return. He has going to have 8 Ravens done as well. And we'll have to see if we'll see some more Neural Parasites on those Ravens too, because that was very effective, nailing a bunch of those Ravens with Neural Hunter Seeker Missiles. Trading some Corruptors for units right now is TLO, trying to get more supply out there, and engaging with a bunch of Broodlords as well. The Infestor's not really coming too much into play, dropping some Infested Terrans to try and draw that Battlecruiser fire. But right now, there's really nothing to deal with the Battlecruisers right now. Some sick Fungals are going off, but the Infestors just can't get within range. Infested Terrans getting absolutely wrecked before they can spawn by the Siege Tanks. And TLO's in a bit of a tricky spot against this many Battlecruisers. Could use some repair though. A couple more Fungals will take out these 3 for sure. And Thor's pretty wounded as well, and it's so many Infestors, just so much energy there. He can delay pushes as long as he wants to, even supply armies. 21 Corruptors coming at once, gonna look to make some more Broodlords. And the gas bank for uRanUs is down to 600 right now, and he's repairing and using up a bunch of that right now too, which is very important for him. But he will start to reestablish this gas mining up here, which he hasn't had for some time because of that Broodlord and Infestor harass. The base over here is still in place. TLO only mining gas from it. One drone. TLO's income would jump significantly if this drone was mining. But mining pretty well at this base, actually, so I take that back a little bit. And this base is coming down as well. TLO still has the better base situation. And this base will not last much longer. Minerals being eaten up pretty quickly by these mules and SCVs. And let's see what the production tab is doing. Thors and Battlecruisers are the order of the day for uRanUs. TLO making Broodlords, and actually making a couple drones. He realizes this economy is so low, he actually does need to do something about it. That's not the right tab. So up to 30 drones now, 34 drones at the 45-minute mark. You don't often see that very often, and the working count for Terran is 17. He does have a bunch of orbitals, I think, somewhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, not that many orbitals at all. Only 4, so his mining is actually limited by that. And he's actually going to try and back out with this command center. He might not be able to get away. The Hydra DPS might be a little too much, and the Infested Terrans not focus firing as well as they could. The SCVs are actually going to go down here, and that's a lot of the economy of uRanUs. He knows he has to push now and kill TLO right now. No economy now. Worker count down to 2 SCVs, and he cannot land the mules at that base. And here does come that army. Immediately takes out that 4th base, but very clumped up. A couple of good fungus to do big damage. And where are the infestors? There are ravens in the army, so Burrow will not be very useful. It'd be hard to target anything here for TLO with that huge number, that huge clump of units right there. We do have only 24 infestors left, actually, but that's about all he has to deal with this, and a bunch of corruptors, and the Broodlord count is only at 1, relying entirely on fungal energy, but he can delay as long as he wants. Let's see some neural parasites again. I'd love to see that, but still not quite going for the neural there, but the Thor's doing huge damage. Great Fungals do go down, but the infestor count is down to 13, but more Great Fungals going down. Corruptors moving in as well, trying to take out these battle cruisers, and they're doing very good work. Some Spines doing some work as well. I'd like to see some more Infested Terrans perhaps, or if all the Ravens are gone, some Burrow and then Infested Terran. It doesn't look like all the Ravens are gone. There's no detection. He could scan, but some Burrow Infestors would be a good little choice here. That scan, oh, great spot. Great focus fire on those Infestors, doing some big damage. Infestor count is down to 10, 17 Corruptors, 5 Roaches, 8 Hydras, and 6 Lings is all that he has in the map. But uRanUs still has no income, is down in supply. Only 9 Thors, a Viking, 8 tanks, 2 Marines, and 1 Battlecruiser left. But his army, he's still a bit behind the army supply, but it's a very strong army, very cost efficient. A couple Ultra, and 1 Ultra, and some Broodlords coming out for TLO, actually. I'm going to try and move in with that, but there's so many Thors, and they'll be just going to do so much instant damage and DPS against that 1 Ultra list. And I think, oh man, this is, I still don't know how this game's going to go. It's going to be very hard for TLO to kill this army. He's going to have to do some great Burrow Infestor play, I think, but his Infestor count is down to 10. That's enough to do something here. He needs to use his Infestors very well. That's a very important part of his army. Well, the Hydras will get caught out of position. A Neural does go down on a couple of the Thors, and they will do some big damage to the other Thors. CJ's moving in as well. Another Neural does go down, but all of the Infestors are now down for TLO, and he needed those energy units. Army supply, uRanUs takes the army supply lead up by about 20, but he will look to actually back off. I don't really know where he's going to go. He has nothing to fall back to. He has no mining. And his bank is still pretty good, though. He has 5k minerals banked. He's going to make a bunch of Hellions, actually. And that could, I wonder how good that'll be against what TLO is doing. TLO is actually making some more drones, 8 right now, and he will have a much better economy. His income, obviously, well, the income of uRanUs is 0, and TLO has income, so I don't really know what uRanUs is doing coming back here and trying to do anything on this side of the map. He has to kill TLO. He does not have, I mean, he has the bank, and he is making 7 SCVs at once, using those planetaries from the wall to try and replenish his economy, and he's actually going to go back to trying to mine. But this Nidus Worm will not allow that to happen. A couple of Zerglings moving in to try and just deny this attack and force that Command Center to land. Blue Flame Hellions will come to deal with this Nidus Worm. And TLO is just starting to mine again, and his income is just looking pretty good. We should see some mules dropping pretty soon this expansion, though, once this Command Center once again lands. Some burrowed Zerglings. I don't know if TLO, well, with the Sensor Tower, he knows those ones are there. So he will be familiar with the burrow placement of those Zerglings. And this game's still going on, guys. TLO making some Banelings right now. Don't know, he's probably looking to use those against the Hellions. And let's see, where are those Banelings morphing, actually? He's going to need those very soon, because here come the Hellions. And they might look to roast some workers, but he will spot them with this a couple of Roaches. And the Ultralisk will obviously not be taken out by any of these Hellions anytime soon. They'll try and kite and do some damage with them, but they will just run away at this point in time. uRanUs this little Thor 1 Battlecruiser and Siege Tank Army moving over to deal with this Nidus Worm. Probably want to clear the creep up here as well, though, to try and take this base. Oh, we're going to see, oh, this could be good. Well, there's nowhere to really, there's nothing to drop those Banelings on. If there were, that would have been pretty awesome. But dropping the Banelings on these Hellions instead does take out a couple of them. Still a good little maneuver there, but using some gas he might have wanted somewhere else. But he actually has a ton of gas banked up, so that's not a huge worry. And these Zerglings will now be able to resume their, and they're actually going to take down this Fusion Core. Definitely a good little use of those 4 Zerglings by TLO. And there goes the Fusion Core. Big pick off there. No more Battlecruisers for any, well, extended period of time, which, I mean, uRanUs really can't make Battlecruisers anyway, but even if he wanted to, he can't. Infested Terrans, once again, being very bothersome. And this huge army is now dealing with this creeping. They'll look to expand to these 2 locations. So uRanUs not calling it quits still. TLO may want to take another base sometime soon. This one's almost mined out, but he could. And these this base is almost. This base is oversaturated as well. Retaking this base can take some drones down there, but it's nearly mined out already. Gonna definitely look to try and take this base or this base to try and replenish his own economy. Or he might just go for a big bust here, actually. He's going to see a lot of Overlords coming over, and his scan's going to see all of those, and he'll be like, oh, shit. Because here come the Overlords and Ultralisks, and there's not a whole lot to deal with the Ultras right now. A lot of the army supply for uRanUs is in Hellions, and they're getting absolutely taken out somewhere. Actually, they must have gotten fungled, perhaps, but it counts down to 8. The 7 Thors will prove to be quite useful, but here comes all the Overlords. A big distraction, actually. Nothing being dropped here at all. I don't really know what these Overlords think they're doing, and they're going to just back out, and just losing a ton of Overlords for no apparent reason. If he had faked the drop and then moved in somewhere else, that would have been utterly sick, but he did not do that. But the Overlords do cluster up now. And I'm curious what he's going to try and do with this. Production tab is non-existent for both players. Thor's moving out to try and do some damage, and we're going to see some repair from these SCVs on the Thors to try to keep this army alive. Mining is once again resumed at this base. Going to start dropping some mules. Floating a command center over to this top right base to try and take that as well. And are those Ultralisks in these Overlords? They are. We're going to see some Ultralisk drops. And I don't even know. He's leading with the right, leading with the empty Overlords, which is a good decision. Corruptor's coming in as well. The Overlords, the Ultralisk drop. Harass. Oh, if he goes for that mineral line, he can actually take out the entire economy very quickly with these cleave attacks. And drop those Ultralisks, and here they do go, and they're going to start wreaking havoc on these SCVs, creep dropping immediately as well. Target those SCVs, target the SCVs. I used to go for the tanks, actually, and move in here. And here comes the flank as well with the Broodlords, and I think this might actually... Is there enough Broodlords to do the damage necessary to these Thors? I don't think there quite is, but we'll have to see. Some Seeker Missiles do go down and take out the Ultralisks, and these Thors are being mass repaired by the Broodlords. Good use of Neural Parasite, trying to grab that Thor. A fungal on the Hellions as well. And on the Thors, but the Broodlords, big Zergling reinforcement wave, and that might be enough to just swing the game into TLO's favor and take the victory. Bluefin Hellions are going to come in and clean it up as well, so a great maneuver by uRanUs to counter the Zerglings. And the Broodlords will once again be under threat by the Thors somewhat soon. Here come the Broodlings moving in, and the focus firing is not quite there from uRanUs. The Micro completely not present. 4 Broodlords doing all that they can. Fungal goes down some Hellions. That Broodlord, one Broodlord might go down. Corruption going down onto the Thors as well. Hellions forced back, and the army supply is in favor of TLO once again, as well as the army supply. So this might be the beginning of the end for uRanUs. Massive repair still going down on those Thors, trying to keep them alive. And the Thors doing some good damage against these Broodlords, but more. We have another Ultra as well as some Roaches, and just still a scrappy unit composition, scrappy play from uRanUs. These Thors are still very much alive. Let's see, maybe a neural or 2, and you will get 1 neural on that Thor, and probably target fire another one immediately. And there we do. Oh, the double neural should actually settle this, and they'll just target fire each other and do a ton of damage while the Broodlords also fire down upon them. And I think that might be the GG moment. uRanUs should realize he's down to 0 mining again. TLO is still mining. Broodlords are completely uncontested. There are no air units out to deal with them right now, and that should be GG. Very soon here. Hellions doing what they can. Zerglings retreating to the Overlords for safety. But the Broodlords should just start to push in and just whittle away very slowly at the defense here of uRanUs. uRanUs just has no mining. He's down to 0 resources, 0 minerals, 5 gas. Hellions going for one last-ditch counterattack, but I mean, counterattacking will not win you the game with a bunch of Hellions when Broodlords are out on the map. Zerglings being made as well. It's just going to take a long time for TLO to kill his opponent. Once again, clutch Overlord use, lifting all the drones up into the Overlord to save them. Just constantly aware the map is TLO. As TLO should just start pushing in. There's nothing to stop these Broodlords at all. There's nothing in production, nothing at all. He doesn't really know that for sure, but he's going to have some idea. One Ultra's going to come in and try to clean up these Blue Flame Hellions, and this might be the first time I'll see a Blue Flame Hellion kill a Ultra. Well, it's not going to happen. I don't need to worry about silly things like that happening. I don't think. It's still going to be pretty close, though. That Ultras might get in the red. Oh, fungal them. Oh, yes, delicious. And I think that should be GG from uRanUs. Down to under 30 supply, 24 supply, 22 supply. And that will continue to plummet. Trying to take this base. There's a Nidus Worm there. He just should leave the game. And uRanUs trying to ask TLO to finish the game, I guess. We'll see a little bit of banter before he leaves. Oh, getting a compliment is a very good player. So, well, that's nice. So there's the GG from uRanUs, and that was a long, boring, and then entertaining very quickly macro game between these two players, allowed to do whatever the heck they wanted until they were both on like 5 bases or something ridiculous. And well, that's the sort of game that TLO Party would end on, quite frankly. Oh, you can see right here, my forehead is sweaty from casting for that long. Long game, did not expect to have to do that. Very painful. But my brow was sweaty. This is how I work for you guys. A button undone. My chest hair sweats for you guys, quite frankly. Disgusting as it is. Great games from TLO, and I'm sad to not cast him for a bit longer with the end of TLO Party. I eagerly await the release of another replay pack of his. His play is just ridiculously entertaining. And, I don't know. So, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and you enjoy my work. I'm working on doing some live tournament casting actually up in the future. I'll definitely let you know on the channel. I'll make a comment when I know about that happening. It'll likely be for the website that I write for, scvrush.com. And definitely keep an eye out for their content in the future. I write articles for them, so look for those there under the Scene News section. And thank you all for watching. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Don Horatio. Follow me here, Don Horatio TV, obviously on YouTube. And that's about it. My email is below as well if you want to send me criticism or questions, or if you want me to if you have a local tournament you want me to cast it, just let me know. I'm down to do anything. So once again, thank you all for watching. I've said that about 3 times now, but I'll stop rambling, and good night.